I'm Scott Vanderplu from AE Index, or the Artist Edition Index at aeindex.org, and today we're reviewing L'Éternat 1969. My French has failed me, and I do not know how to say 1969 in French, but this is a French album, so a French graphic novel compiled by Rackham, and it collects this by the Éternat, which is the second time that the story was adapted graphically by Hector Germán Osterheld wrote it, and this time it was drawn by Alberto Breccia. Here's a comparison to a standard size trade paperback. This is 10.8 inches by 14.5 inches. It's a beautiful hardcover. It's a textured front, textured back cover, graphics on the side, nice stamping on the side. And because this is for review for the AE Index, we're reviewing the book and its production, but not the story. You can review the story in other places. Here we're looking at the book and how it presents its original art and the design. The design is very simple for this book. As you can see, we just got a very basic white title page. In a second. And then we get a note on the presentation of this edition. This is very interesting, and it's a great addition to any book that's presenting scans of art or a story like this. This is they describe how the art, where the art came from, how it was moved around, and how they have all but 5 pages, and what decisions they made, how they digital enhancement, digital correction for the original art, which is a disappointment for myself and watchers, readers of AE Index, because we're interested in scans of original art. And that puts this book firmly in the AE adjacent category, which is what I have on the site. Any book that is not just straight up scans, if it's reduced art, if it's corrected art, if it's scans, but then something's done to it. And here you can see this is a good presentation of that from this first page. It is scanned from the original art, as the publisher states, Rackham. And you can see gradients in the inks. You can see textures. It's a paste in, right? We can see paint applied. This Breccia used a variety of mediums in this book. But then we can see that the white, they've adjusted the contrast. They've really upped the whites, so they're very clean and looking like a black and white presentation. They've added these boxes here because this is where it was pasted. This was published in a magazine, and that was left blank on the original art. So here they filled it in. They gave in the date, publication, for this period of 2 to 3 pages. Again, we can see, look at those, look at those gradients. Just gorgeous blacks there. And then, right, you can see correction fluid there. Breccia was using a razor blade on the board, and you can get some texture there as well. Here you can see he's signed it, and then we see either correction fluid or maybe white paint there. Again, textures applied there and there. And then we move on, you see the date adjusted there. So it's a weekly magazine that they did the art. The design is very straightforward. There are page numbers in the corners. And again, here we go. Look at this presentation of original art. And here we see the dots applied to the board. See that he's applied snow. And that's where we get this texture on the end papers. I mean, just look at that. Gorgeous. Unfortunately, that gives us, like, look as we move through. Again, we got the dates as we go through the magazine. Real texture applied there again. But this white correction, right? Those whites are way too white. So we've got scans of original art. We've got some application of what was on the original art boards, and some of it comes through fully. But then the rest, unfortunately, we've got correction. Now, this is my first video review for AE Index. The site's been going quite strongly, and I've always done written reviews where I take many photos in the review and then add my text to it. And that, of course, is available at aeindex.org. These video reviews are accompaniments to those reviews. I've seen other sites, some tech sites I greatly enjoy, present a video and a written review, and you can have both. My goal is to do the written review first, and then I'll add the video review after. Here's another great example. Look at this. Look at the textures on this board. Really coming through, right? But then those whites again, just killing it. And they've added the lettering digitally. I think this is originally in Spanish or Portuguese. And then this is a French album, Rackham, so they've added French text, which is great. But then, yeah, just beautiful. overall presentation of art, but not original art, right? So this sits somewhere. Look at that again. Look at the gradients in those inks. Just gorgeous. I mean, you can compare that, right? Look at the textures of paint to something like this where they've just applied a black, right? And then again, just those whites, far too white. Look at that. That's just it comes through so well. And then as you can see, Breccia is one of those artists really, took himself to different places, different styles he applied to his art, and just applied wonderful textures throughout this book. This, for English readers who want to compare this, Fantagraphics did Eternaut 1969, and it's long out of print, unfortunately. You can still get it digitally, so if you've got some way you want to read it that way, with a tablet or on your PC, that's certainly possible. But no way to purchase currently published in English. Now here's one of the 5 pages that were digitally that were missing, that they did not have the original art for. It's page 50, and that they took a published version and they corrected. And you can see actually that. I mean, here's a scanned page, and you can see the gradients, you can see this texturing, you can see what he's pasted to the board, you can see the paint there, and then if you compare that, it's not that much different. Unfortunately, color work like this, when you scan the original art and present it, we've seen that in different artist editions, like the Bill Sienkiewicz Artifact Edition. Color and different mediums don't come across as well as just an inked or penciled and inked original artboard. So we get the complete story. Then we get a very interesting article here. Again in French. Hopefully, if your French is good, there's the Gent magazine that this story appeared in. Descriptions. There's a nice article about it. Then we get some nice picture of Breccia and Osterheld. There's a sad history to Osterheld, but that doesn't really fit in this book either. It finishes with the colophon at the back page. This seems to be a French thing, not something North American publishers do, but generally the colophon appears at the back of French books of this type, and we can see that it's a limited edition of 1500. It's not numbered, but the entire print run is 1500, so it is a limited edition, just not numbered in each volume. Unfortunately, there's no editor or designer credited. We were only credited with the translator and the letterer, which I thought was odd as well. But overall, very nice book, but just not quite artist edition material, but definitely AE adjacent. You can read my write-up on this book at aeindex.org, and the full flip through of this book, I will link to this video as well, and you can experience that as well. Thank you.